How's it going, guys? I'm Mel Torres from Fortin Amplification, and in this video, I'm going to be joined with Jacob Ortiz in a conversation about dialing in guitar tone and his philosophy with dialing in amps. Jacob is a content creator with Legator Guitars who consistently creates content on a weekly basis showcasing off guitars for the brand as well as their distributed brand, FGN Guitars. Jacob writes songs almost once a week, releasing almost 100 songs over the last 2 years. And he's great at showing off the versatility of each instrument that he showcases. So with that in mind, I thought it was a great idea to have a conversation with him discussing the philosophy of dialing in amp sims and his approach to dialing in guitar tone. Without further ado, let's jump into that conversation between me and Jacob, and hope you guys can learn a thing or two. So let's kind of like go through like the chain starting with the pedals. And then let me just ask you a few questions on there.
Only thing I have on in the pedal section out of the box is the noise gate, is the Zool, the noise gate.
Is that just so you can have like kind of like a more versatile thing going on? Then you can reach for the hex drive or reach for the grind when you need that.
Yeah, because when I was building this preset, normally what I'll do when I'm building a preset is I'll usually throw the hex drive on, set it to about where it is right now. Which that right there isn't bad, but even listening to it, I could tell in a low tuning, that's a lot of gain. So I did leave it with these settings to use for like a lead channel, but I found that just by itself, that amount of gain is really good once you're down in like drop A, drop G, any lower than that. Even like if you have an 8-string, drop E. And I've used this with an 8-string with Fishman's before, and it does the job just fine.
Sick. Let's check out the head then.
Cool.
So for the head, can you talk me through your settings and then let me know why you landed at them?
So I start with the master up at about 8. I feel personally with Cali, I know a lot of people like to sit around like the 5 or 6 range for their master, but I find once you get past that, there's a certain amount of headroom that you get with Cali that you don't really get past that. So if I got it there at 6, it's a little thin, but as soon as you start cranking that,
you really want to push those power tubes.
Yeah,
like that sense of saturation. Yeah.
Without obviously cranking it so you don't get too much, but right about there is for any time I set up this plugin. Around 8 is the sweet spot for me. And then everything else, I've got the mids pretty scooped. I got bass around 3, treble around 6, presence also around 6, brightness switch on. As you can tell, I like a really bright guitar tone.
Because I know you pull double duty. Sometimes you do leads and then you go to rhythm.
Right.
So you're looking for that like balance.
Yeah.
So a lot of common like misconception that I have with a lot of people is that like there needs to be a lot of bass like especially even with extended range. So you're telling me like a bright guitar tone.
Oh yeah.
Like what's your thought process behind that? Like why bright but you're playing with low tunings?
Well, for me, what I notice is that quite the opposite. When I play in low tunings, I try and pull back on the bass because it's already in a low register. If you sit here and come up and start cranking the bass, it just gets super muddy and super muffled. Because you're already in a low tuning. Bearing in mind that in a mix, you're playing with a bass still, ideally. I know a lot of people like to joke like, oh, 9 strings are replacing bass, or like low tuning's replacing bass. It's not. You still need the bass there.
Yeah, you're still like mid-range, like, but the tone is just lower.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Absolutely. When I built this preset with the intention of it being for down-tuned guitars, I pulled the bass back so that the quality of the guitar could still come through, which is like the mid-range, the like, to me, or for me, I like a really bright guitar tone, because like you said, I'm sometimes doing lead works. So being able to go down there and then come back up. And even leads aside, with gent and metalcore, a lot of times you're bouncing between those two registers anyway.
Yeah.
So if I'm up here going like, you know, a lot of guys will do that. That was my approach to this, being able to use the full range of an extended range, or even just in general, just down-tuned guitars, and still being able to get clarity from top to bottom.
Yeah. And that's the hard thing, because I know a lot of guys like live in a certain place in the fretboard or a certain place in the thing. I know like they'll play the other strings, but they'll just kind of like be in like their zone.
Sure.
Their tone, I've found, is often really accommodating to that, but I've seen like you play and switch from tone to tone. You can't just go to your amp and change it. I know you can in automation, but you get really like, it gets really convoluted and overdone if you're just like, oh, well, my lead tone needs to have this much and that.
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, is the audience going to notice that to the degree, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I appreciate you finding like where your guitar sits, finding where your amp sits, and then having that meet in the middle and work for the whole instrument, rather than like, this riff sounds best with this preset, this riff, these leads sound best with this, and then just putting things in a box. You found a way to open the box and give everything its space. That's pretty cool.
For me personally, I like to find a guitar tone that's kind of a one and done thing. Like, I know there are dudes that like, yeah, I have like a different preset per song, which is all good and well. But me personally, if I can have a guitar tone that's essentially a one-trick pony, just kind of adjusting little things here and there maybe if I have to, but being able to do everything I need with just one tone is always my goal. Like, either
one tone to rule them all.
One tone to rule them all. Exactly.
One stank to rule the face.
Yeah, whether it be for my band, whether it be for Legator, whether it be for my other band. Either way, like, I like to have a preset, or even just an amp. If we're talking in the world of amps and pedals, I like to have a setup that I can do everything I need it to do without having to get too crazy and changing things all over the place. And I think that comes from starting off in guitar with an actual amp and with a pedal board. You know, when you're doing gigs, you don't have time to sit there and change and fine tune everything during a song.
Yeah.
It's kind of just, okay, this is what I have. I got to work with this. So usually in that scope, I would have my lead tone, I would have my main tone, I would have my clean tone, and that was usually it. And I had to make those work for everything that I did. Especially if I, like, back in the day, I did gigs. I did cover gigs. So you're playing all the
hours
and hours, all these different kind of genres. You don't really have time to sit there and change everything, because then the band waits on you, the audience waits on you, and it's not a good time for anybody.
Yeah, you get less tips like that for sure.
Yeah. So just having a tone, kind of an all-in-one package, has always been my approach to guitar tone.
All right, so there you have it, guys. I hope you guys enjoyed that conversation between me and Jacob and his philosophy behind guitar tone and dialing it in. If you guys enjoyed that conversation, please hit that thumbs up button, ring the bell for notification, and leave a comment down below and let us know which artist should be joining me in conversations, giving you guys an insight on how they like to dial in guitar tone and how it can apply to you. Again, my name is Mel from Fortin Amplification, and I'll see you on the next one.